Hi. I feel like I should talk about gap years, okay, and college, because for the past maybe like year, 2 years, it's been a priority of mine, even if it was me not going to college or me going to college. It was still a constant thought within my mind. So today we will be talking about my gap year experience and journey. Okay, so what is a gap year? I personally define a gap year as just a year of taking time off from school. So looking on the internet, it says that a gap year is a semester or a year of learning typically taken after high school and prior to career or post-secondary education in order to deepen one's ideas about what to do in the future. So I personally decided to take a gap year because I didn't want to go to school as soon as I had gotten into my senior year. I had struggled a lot within my senior year of high school, and I graduated class of 2020. And I struggled so much that I was just like, I just don't want to go to school, and I don't know how other people can do it. But that ended up with me bleeding my frustrations onto other people. I remember when people asked me if I was going to college, I would always lie. Okay, I'll be very honest. I would always lie, like, yeah, I'm gonna go to like U of M or MSU or something like that, just in order to appease what people wanted to hear. However, I had always intended on taking a gap year and actually just not going to school at all. So for some people, I said that I was gonna go to college, but just haven't decided. And for others, I told them that I was just taking a gap year, but without actually having the intention of going to school at all, which is perfectly fine. However, I feel like because I didn't want to go to school and because I struggled so much, I literally was telling people like, haha, you're going to go into debt, and haha, you're going to be broke. But then within this year, 2021 and 2022, I had decided to go to school. I decided to go to art school. So so I completely negated and did the complete opposite of what I had been telling people with such strong opinions. Like, I feel like I was just so aggressive with it. But I took a gap year ultimately because I just wanted to take a break. I don't even, like I said, I don't even know how to explain it. Like I said, I had a really hard time with my senior year, with school being cut short due to COVID-19. It was actually a blessing in disguise for me, just because I didn't feel like I was going to make it out. Though I did, and I probably would have passed perfectly fine. I had a lot of doubts within myself. So for COVID-19 to come, it kind of cut my year short. And I was very grateful just because of all the mental struggles that I had had within the last few months of my senior year. I was really happy to have a break. And a lot of my stress came from things here at home and things that had happened at school and the different standards that I had had for myself. And I just felt that I needed a break. Like, I felt like I needed some time to actually think about what I wanted to do, and I just needed time away from school, away from the educational stress. And that's why I took a gap year. Within this whole year, I had done things for myself. So I decided that I wanted to become an adult. So for my journey within my gap year, I decided to do some things that I had always wanted to accomplish. And within the guidelines with being in COVID-19 and dealing with that, and just dealing with the global pandemic, I did what I could do for myself. So I started therapy within that time. And I can also talk about like therapy and school and therapy and within my gap year and things like that, and how I was able to make decisions. But I also got my driver's license. So I remember when I was younger, one of my friends had offered to take driver's training classes with me she was going to take them, and she asked me if I wanted to go with her. And when I asked my parents, they said no. I think I was maybe like 14 or 15. And so I always felt some type of way that I wasn't able to get my driver's license when everybody else did. And when I finally got my driver's license at 18, I did it all myself. I had asked people around me, like different family members, if they could drive me to the Secretary of State's office. I booked all my appointments and things like that, and I felt like that was the first instance of me adulting, is because I moved forward with things I knew that needed to be done. So I studied for things like that. I got a little bit better with my diet. That's another thing I can talk about, but I got a little bit better with my diet. I also got my first job and my second job all by myself. So asked family members if they could drop me off at work and things like that, or asked family members to drop me off at the interviews and things like that. I conducted my resume and updated my resume and stuff like that, stuff that just needs to be done for yourself. However, I felt that it was different for me just because I had such a hard time making decisions for myself, because out of high school, I didn't really have to make decisions myself. I would have been able to present it to my parents and they would have been able to tell me the answer. However, when it came to my own frustrations that I couldn't do these things myself, I started to work on that. So it was just stuff like that I had done myself and had considered adulting, when ultimately it's something that you just have to do for yourself. Even if it's not something that you do as an adult, it's something that you do for yourself so that you're able to progress successfully. So within this gap year, I feel like it's almost been like a year and a half. It's almost 2 years. But what had stopped my gap year? So my gap year stopped because I had applied for a school just to push myself a little bit. So in the beginning of 2021, I was really struggling with depression and anxiety. So I felt that I needed to at least have a goal to do something. So I created a portfolio, started a new portfolio, started all these new pieces and things like that, and sent them into a school, into a college, into an art school. And I had applied for the fall semester. However, I hadn't received anything. I hadn't received anything in my email. I didn't receive anything in the mail. So I was just like, oh, maybe they didn't get it. Because I wasn't anticipating not getting in, but I wasn't anticipating anything. It was just like, yeah, this is just a goal of mine to at least try, because this is something that I had wanted to do, is I wanted to at least try to get accepted into a school, or at least try and have the effort to do it. In October, I had received a letter from the school, and I was like, oh, maybe it's like an advertisement. So what happens with like art schools is that they send like their school portfolio kind of. So they send these like huge books. So this is from one school, the School of the Art Institute of Chicago. They send you this like package. I also got one from I started when I was in my freshman year of high school or sophomore year of high school, I wanted to go to art school. So I signed up for these emailing lists for all of these schools. Anyways, I thought that it was something like that. All of that to say, I thought that they had sent me a letter as because I'm on their emailing list, but it was actually an acceptance letter to the school. And they had also given me a partial scholarship. Ding. So I had decided that I had wanted to go to that school, and I was so excited because I was like, oh my goodness, wait a second. I didn't think I was going to get in to begin with, and then they gave me a partial scholarship, which blew my head up. And with that being said, I just was so excited, and I had taken the tour to go and everything like that. And I will also make another video on how to prepare for college, because I had no intention of going to school. I didn't pay attention to anything anyone had told me, so I had to relearn it all myself. I'm not going in this spring semester. As a heads up, I deferred to the next semester just due to some personal reasons, but I did defer to the next semester. But I still have the information on like things to like apply for, like scholarships and stuff like that, and that'll just be a whole separate video. But yeah, so that was the end of my gap year, is just me wanting to go to art school. Like, I had gotten the opportunity to go, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna go to school, you know. So a gap year is ultimately just the years in between, or gap years or year. It's usually a year. Okay, so I'm in a different outfit, but I understand that it took me a long time to explain a gap year. However, I did want to include some of my experience into there, just so that you guys were able to see a little bit of my journey and how I had conducted my gap year. For people who are confused on whether to take a gap year or not, or are actively taking a gap year, I want you to know that it's not as uncommon as you think. A lot of people don't know what they want to do straight out of high school, and that's perfectly fine. I want people who are in high school to understand that it's perfectly fine if you don't know what you want to do. However, if you are not able to take a gap year due to your parents not allowing it, or due to other reasons that you're not allowed to, I will also make a video where you guys can check up on your mental health and do other things in replacement, so that you're able to still grow into yourself and grow into an adult even when you are in college. I'm very grateful that my parents were perfectly fine with me taking a gap year, and saw no problem with it, and see no problem with any of my future career choices or anything like that. They are really lenient with that. But throughout this video, I hope that I was able to shed a bit of light on a gap year. A lot of people assume that a gap year is just for people who are lazy. However, with me struggling with my mental health, it made sense for me to take a second from school, since school was one of my biggest stressors. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video today. Like I previously said, if you feel you need to take a gap year, that's perfectly fine. If you don't, that is also perfectly fine. I hope that I'm able to provide you guys another option. Thank you so much for watching today's video. I will try to get videos out every week like I already am doing. However, I did start working someplace else that is a bit more strenuous than my other job, and a little bit more demanding than my other job. However, I will try my best. And also check out my Instagram if you're ever interested on more content like this, but in shorter form. And you can check out my TikTok, and all of those will be at the end of the video. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your afternoon, and have a nice rest of your week. Mic drop. No, I'm kidding. Mic drop. Mic drop. K-pop has rotted my brain.